One of my oldest, one of my favorite subjects of all time is correlation versus cause. And I think anybody in my generation, our generation, maybe perhaps when we grew up, we were always told that something that we were doing would lead to something. You're sitting too close to the TV. You're listening to the music too loud. You're listening to this Alice Cooper. Whatever the hell it was always portrayed in some particular way as being something that would lead to something. It would lead to, I remember Alice Cooper kind of scared people. They remember the guillotine and the head, and it was some pretty rough stuff. Which I don't know if anybody really took it seriously, but we were told, don't do this. We sort of, kind of, maybe got out of the way of the video game thing for a while, because when I was, coming up, my generation, we didn't really have much of any in terms of, the games, the game stuff. It was pretty. Do you find folks remember the first time you saw anything, which was to me the most incredible thing I ever saw, was Pong? Do you remember Pong? Now let's go, because at the time, I know you youngins are going to say, what? See, that's the beauty. You don't remember how lucky we were to see it emerge from nothing. I had this TV, and I had to plug in the back, and it was like this pain in the ass. It was like so hard. These knobs, and this. Thank you, dear heart. Just going to be that. Thank you. And so Pong was it. Pong. Wow. It's your TV. 1 minute we're watching Walter Cronkite. Next thing you know, we're playing Pong. Yeah. Not even ping, but Pong. Okay, great. It was terrific. I loved it. How much better could it get than that? Then later on, and that was at home, but you would sit at this table, and at the table, this thing, you would play Pong, and sometimes it could get really fast and you got to move it back and forth. I mean, there was a certain degree of skill into it. And then came Pac-Man. Wow. What was going on? Pac-Man and individual numbers in there. And then you had the individual folks who were really good at it. Raising the numbers, keeping track of the numbers, escalating the numbers. The Babe Ruth of Pac-Man. Oh, the Ms. Pac-Man. What a ripoff that was. Let's just make it for. And it was just, it was, and so long arcades. The arcade sort of kind of went away, See ya, Mr. Arcade. See ya. Nobody even understands, the whole notion of a pinball machine. There was something to be said. The sound of an arcade. Remember the arcade? When you were a kid, you'd go there, and it was like a version of the pool hall where the loose people, you hung out outside, and the sluts and the skeeves and the fallen angels as you went and you played. Anyway, okay. I personally loved the game called Missile Command. I thought this was the greatest thing ever. Come in with rolls of quarters like you can't believe. Noise, just like casinos. And then I kind of grew out of it, and I wasn't really paying attention. I never got into the game thing. I never got into the gaming. Some people really like gaming. Mohammed bin Salman spends all night long playing it. Now, just because I never got into it doesn't mean it's no good. It's just one of those things. I never got into golf, but people like golf. It's one of those things. Okay, fine. But that's who I was, and that's what I did. By gum, that's what I did. And that's the way it was, and it was great. And I thought really nothing more of it. ever again. And that was the end of it. And, so, and then all of a sudden, I found out that people were just, acting a little kind of weird. People were just acting a little weird, a little strange, because the games were getting a little violent. From what I heard, I didn't know. I wasn't really paying attention. How violent can they be? I didn't really realize what gaming was, and I know it. But remember, I'm not saying that because I didn't do it, it's not valid or anything. I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you that I was, for whatever it's worth, it's no big deal to me. Well, my friends, things are different, because now we have something called No Mercy. And Mrs. L and I did a piece today, and I hope you watch it both on her channel and mine. And it's about something called No Mercy. If I can read to you what No Mercy is about, you're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe this even is out there. You had no idea. But the question remains, is there, and this is important, is there a connection between this particular behavior and aberrant, psychotic, criminal behavior? Does it make you do something? Does it take kids who are already screwed up? And does it make them, shall we say, act as though something? Does it pull out? Does it make people, for lack of a better word, become something that they don't really want to become? So we're going to be talking about that, my friends. Make sure you are signed up. Make sure you are subscribed to Lionel Nation. Oh, my dear friends. But remember, before we begin, you're going to be hearing a lot of good and great stuff from Mike Lindell, our buddy, the man who has stood with us since day one, and we've stood by as well. Listen to this important message and this great offer from this great man. When it comes to comfort, support, and a good night's sleep, my friends, MyPillow has revolutionized the way millions of Americans rest their heads. With unmatched quality, cutting-edge design, and a commitment to American-made excellence, MyPillow has become a household name. And now with MyPillow.com/Lionel, or using the promo code Lionel, you can unlock exclusive discounts and deals that bring comfort and savings right to your doorstep. That's right, my friend. Mike Lindell and the team in MyPillow aren't just selling pillows. They're on a mission to transform the sleep experience with a wide variety of products beyond their signature pillows. Whether you're looking for supportive, adjustable pillows, luxurious Giza Dream sheets, cozy towel, mattress toppers that cradle your body in comfort, MyPillow offers it all. And with their 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty, you can be confident that MyPillow stands behind every product they sell. Now, why MyPillow stands out? Let me tell you, unlike generic pillows you grab off a department store shelf, MyPillow is customizable and engineered to cater to different sleep styles. Whether you're a side sleeper or a back sleeper or a stomach sleeper, their patented interlocking fill technology adjusts to your specific comfort needs, keeping your neck and spine properly aligned throughout the night. No more waking up with that sore neck, no more tossing and turning, just the restful, rejuvenating, and exhilarating sleep that you deserve. And it doesn't stop at pillows. MyPillow's Giza Dream sheets, made from the finest Egyptian cotton, offer a smooth, breathable, and luxurious feel, turning your bed into a sleep heaven. So right now, my friends, do the right thing. Go to MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. It's easy for me to say, MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel, or call 800-645-4965. Simply the best. Trust me. Friends, I think I've been telling you this. I think I've told you for a long time that in my area of expertise, I've always loved the notion, the psychological connection of correlation versus cause. What makes people do something that they do? What makes you do what you do? What was it? Was it school? Was it religion? Was it what have you? Who knows? Catching up, M.R.O. Levon says, in Orson Scott Card's Ender's Game, protagonist Andrew Ender Wiggin thought he was just playing a game. Thank you, M.R.O. Thank you. Our good friend Brad Rung says, 1912, the British liner Titanic set sail from Southampton, England, bound for New York on its ill-fated maiden voyage, and I think you know how that one happened. By the by, I would be remiss to tell you this afternoon, Mrs. L and I were looking out the window, looking down the Hudson River, down the lazy river, down the Hudson River, and right when the kind of not the river, but right around Houston, there was a tragedy. It was Jersey City, right? There was a sort of, yeah, across from Houston, there was a helicopter that crashed. You've seen it, I'm sure. 6 people, I think from Spain, hit the water. 6 people from Spain died, including three children. Absolutely horrible. And I want to read you this story, which goes to show you how demented the world is. Let me see if I can get this out for purposes, ladies and gentlemen, of YouTube. Here is a title, Corpse on R Train. This is the subway. Alleged, well, let me just tell you this much. An incident involved on an R train in New York City subway system where an individual allegedly performed SA, I think you know what that means, on a corpse. Now, why there's a corpse on the subway, I have no idea. How you happened upon this, I don't know. But the presence of an expired human being has raised questions among the public about the circumstances leading to the situation. Gee, do you think? Maybe? Authorities are investigating the matter, and there is a person who may have had his way with said corpse on the subway, and I don't know what to say. There's nothing. There's nothing there. I don't know what I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. There's got to be a joke there, but not for YouTube. No. So let's just leave it at that, my friends. Now, before we get to this show called No Mercy, I want to tell you about this one game. Do you remember what this was? Ladies and gentlemen, do you remember this game? Does this look familiar to you? Do you know what this one is? This was in 1976 the most controversial game. I was trying to get an extra movement. Do you know what this is? Speaking of said subject, do you know what this is? Nope, not Deadpool. Nope. What was this called? Never seen it. Okay, I'm trying to move it. This was one of the most good. Death Race. Thank you so much, Zigga. There you go. Death Race. Death Race was so controversial, you can't even believe how controversial it was. You cannot believe, words cannot, because the debate, ladies and gentlemen, over violent video games began in earnest in the mid-1970s, 1976 really, with a now infamous arcade game called Death Race. It was released in 76, year I graduated from high school. And Death Race allowed players to run over gremlins with a car, to run over a gremlin, which would then squeal and disappear, leaving behind tombstones that would pop up and then became a thing to get around, so to speak. Though considered primitive by today's standards, ladies and gentlemen, the game caused national outrage. This is the most disgusting thing. Critics claimed it was encouraging violence Look at it. It's just a little thing with the X. Defenders of it, like myself, said it was a game. It was cartoonish graphics, ridiculous. But it was one of the first times that American media and lawmakers seriously questioned the impact of video games. This is 1976. Then in the 1990s, we saw the rise of more graphically intense titles like Mortal Kombat, Doom, Grand Theft Auto, prompting hearings in the United States Senate, and eventually it led to the ESRB, the Entertainment Software Rating Board. Now, this supposed system gave games age-appropriate ratings, and it allowed parents to make informed choices without supposedly banning the content outright. Now, of course, as the gaming technology picked up and audiences became more sophisticated and the like, the conversations around content and realism and violence and responsibility all deepened and got even more thrilled. Titles like Manhunt, Postal, and Call of Duty sparked new waves, new levels and torrents of concern about desensitization and aggression. Still, my friends, the majority of scientific research has remained inconclusive, obviously, about whether violent video games directly lead to violent behavior. Well, fast forward now to 2025. Because a game called No Mercy, ladies and gentlemen, No Mercy has reignited the global conversation about what people consider to be the limits of content in interactive entertainment. And what's important is, while it was removed by a number of different platforms following this international backlash of sorts, its existence today challenges really the notion of how far creators can go. And should kids get near this? And is it depraved? Well, the conversation continues, of course, the argument. Are video games simply art, or do they bear a greater responsibility? While millions play without incident, questions remain, of course, about the content. But No Mercy is a different story. For those of you who don't remember, there was a similar game, and it was a game called Frogger. And Frogger involved something like this. You would jump and you'd be splat. The little frog tries to get across the street. And there's different people. There's J.D. Vance. It's kind of a modernized version of this. But that was basically it. Now, did this make you go out and kill people? I don't think so. I think to me it's just it's a bit about nothing. However, those people who say this don't really understand as far as these new videos. Now, let me see if I can explain this to you, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see if I can put into your consideration, into your realm, the following. And this is incredible. This is important. This is critical. This is the one that's the most. No Mercy, and I'm going to try my best. I'm going to do everything I can to try to clean this up, ladies and germs, to clean this up so that you can hear it and that YouTube will not go crazy. No Mercy is a highly, safe to say, a controversial game developed by Zerat Games, Z-E-R-A-T. And it was released on Steam in March of this year, just last month. Now, the game is a 3D visual novel that places the player in a rather disturbing role. Want to hear it? Okay. Think Tate Brothers. Think Conor McGregor. Think about them. It's kind of like what do you call it? Bro play, bro culture, incels. You know what that is, right? Involuntarily celibate, all those weird freaks. Bro culture, everybody. There we go. A male character exerts power and control over female family members through, let me see if I can say this, certain non-consensual scenarios. Family members, not strangers, not people out and about, family members. What kind of sick? The storyline is centered on themes of dominance, I'm going to say the INCEST. I feel like I'm a parent spelling in front of children, but you know how these people are. That's right. This is a game. And psychological manipulation. You got this? Now, the promotional material for the game encouraged players, quote, to never take no for an answer. Did you hear what I just said? Ladies, how do you like that? Never take no. Sounds like the Tate brothers, don't they? And become every woman's worst nightmare. This is the game. Phrases that immediately triggered, of course, a backlash for promoting misogynistic and abusive and violent behavior. This is the game. Did you know that? We went from Frogger and Death Race and to this. Now, what made No Mercy especially controversial wasn't just its content. Oh, no. It was the fact that a major platform like Steam allowed it to be published at all. Now, within 24 to 48 hours of its release, the game faced intense criticism from the public, digital safety experts, mental health professionals, and governments around the world. Several countries, my dear friends, including Australia, Canada, and the UK, moved immediately to remove the game or block it from being downloaded. And lawmakers are accusing Steam of kind of turning a blind eye to extreme content and failing to uphold responsible moderation practices and standards and that sort of thing. Now, the controversy, of course, is sparking, this is why we're here, a wider debate about the limits of free speech. This is free speech because free speech is expression. And free speech is expression, and this is part and parcel of the notion of free speech. Whether you like it or not, speech doesn't mean standing on a corner. It doesn't mean writing a newspaper article. It means this as well. And the question becomes whether platforms like Steam, are they doing enough to protect users, especially younger ones, from extreme or harmful material? Do they own a duty? Now, while the game has since been removed in multiple countries, it's still going on here. They're suing. I don't know what they're going to do. So the bottom line is simply this. What is your take on this? What do you believe is a responsibility? Now, if I am an adult, okay, if I am an adult, ladies and germs, and I am, what am I trying to say? If I'm enjoying this kind of game, I'm not going to do anything, but I like kind of incestuous, kind of violent game. I mean, just think about this. And by the by, what it does is this: it has this little check mark that says, "Are you 18? I'm 18. Yes, check. That's it. You're 18." Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm trying to sign into Costco, I've got to find these little captchas, Find the fire hydrants, find the stairs and the boats, and where's the, do you see a mountain here? By the way, do you know what captchas are for? Did you ever find out what captchas, why we do that? Do you know what the story behind that is, ladies and germs? Any clue, my friends? Any clue at all? Any clue? White Monkey says they're concerned about video games, never concerned about pornography or exploitation. They're concerned about video. Well, the problem is they're talking about children. They're talking about children. And that's why this is important. It's the children. And we'll get to this, which is an important thing. Now, what they're doing is, when it comes to this, there's no anything. There's no jumping through hoops. There's no making sure you're 18 and whatever. It doesn't even matter. So there's two questions. Should they be more concerned about young people? And if they are concerned about young people, what are they supposed to do? Make it available? You're not going to ban it. Well, what do they do? What can they do? Isn't that the role of the parent? Isn't the parent supposed to do that? Well, the parent's going to be too busy. Well, I'm sorry. But see, nobody cares about this. Nobody cares about this. Sadie says, so bots don't get in? No. Very good question. You're right. Have you seen these new ones, Sadie, where they have this, where you sometimes slide this lock into a device? They want you to move. I mean, yeah, that's good. That's not what they want to do. They're taking all of your millions and millions. Kathy L says, I do. All right, Miss Priss. What does it do? Come on, Kathy. What's the reason? Kathy's going to tell us what the purposes of captchas are. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. What is it? Unscheduled program says, as a child, I watch a Vietnam War live on TV. Should I be concerned about myself? Yes, you should. CAPTCHA is for training AI. Training AI, well, close. CAPTCHA, believe it or not, is training for not AI necessarily, but autonomous vehicles. They're all stuff outside. Where's the traffic light? Notice that? Where's the boat? Where's the car? Where's the motorcycle? Where's the mountain? The mountain's on. Where's the? It's all outside stuff. They never say, where's the glass? Where's the? It's all to teach you to, Kimmy says, the purpose is to humiliate me. I don't know about you, but somebody go, ooh, that's close. You go, what? Did I miss one? Oh, damn. Does that count? Find the stairs. So if you're having cars out there that are autonomous, you want to be able to have something that out there that can know what all this stuff looks like. So it's teaching you. By the way, it's asking you to help it learn how these things work. Pretty good, isn't it? Huh? Now let me ask you a question. Do games make people crazy? Do games, answer my question, yes or no? Do games, should Steam be banned because someone can get into it? Does the game make you crazy? That's the question. They make you crazy. So if I take a person who's normal and I say, here, I want you to see this game. What's it called? It's called No Mercy. And play it. Hey, you're pretty good at it. Do you become crazy? Would you get in a car during Midtown rush hour? Would I get into a car? You mean an autonomous car? Eventually we will. Absolutely. Eventually we all will. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I got news for you, but I mean, now there's, it's not ready now, but eventually we will. Sure. Won't you? When these things are really good, when they're really good and they're driving people and dropping people off, you'll do it. Absolutely. You will do that. There's no doubt about it. Do you hear what I'm saying? Maybe not now, but later. But the thing is, the answer is no, a child is not going to be made crazy by virtue of a game. Okay? You're not going to take a normal child and have it have weird, demented desires towards its mother and aunt in the game, and then the child leaves the game and goes out and is forever affected negatively by virtue of the game. If it does happen, it wasn't the game. Have you ever had somebody or known somebody who cannot hold their liquor? If they have one drink, they've got 30. They just cannot. And I truly believe, absolutely from the bottom of my heart, alcoholism or excessive is it's like a disease or something. Because some people say, ooh, that's okay. Other people, they cannot stop. Is it the alcohol that did that? Well, theoretically, yeah. No, it was a person's predisposition, propinquity, proclivity, or propensity, whatever, to do in the first place. I'm being alliterative here. But that was the trigger. That was certainly the trigger, but there was something about it. This here, take this. What is this, beer? Here, you try a beer. Oh, it's okay, I don't like it. What's wrong with them? Well, they're not programmed. You mean they're not an alcoholic. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying? It's absolutely, could be genetics. Genetics has a tremendous role in this. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. All I know is we're not going to ban liquor because of all the problems. So does it affect people? Well, I don't know what affecting means. But here's the story. I don't know exactly what it is that we need, or what we need to do to make people crazy. Vito, where have you been, says, no, I'm 52 and I've been gaming since the 80s. I find it a way to escape life into a fantasy world for entertainment. Crazy people do crazy things because they are crazy. I think you are 100% correct. 100% correct. For you to have somebody claim to be or do something by virtue of, whatever it is, some type of behavior, and claim that it affected them negatively, no. It could, no. If you wanted to make a child a serial killer, what would you do? Can you make one? Let's start off with it's like you go to you have a plant, here's your African violet, here's mine, we all have one. Let's see who can destroy the African violet or whatever it was. Okay. All right. The first thing you would do, obviously, to a child is you want to abuse it. Physical, emotional, something. You got to take a child and you got to hurt the child. You have to hurt the child some way. Normal people with good upbringings and good self-esteem and good healthy do not do this because it's the ultimate in sadism. They also have propensities between enuresis, bedwetting, lighting fires, arson, and, more importantly, which is critical, this thing called arson, excuse me. But even people who are enuretic, those who set things on fire, and others, that does not necessarily mean or need to show a propensity, proclivity, or predisposition to serial killing. So I don't know what it does. It's hard to explain. But I will tell you this. You're better off having a child not play a game where they're targeting NEM, okay, with some kind of vile behavior. You're probably better off. Just saying. You are better off. Okay? Capiche? You are better off. Believe me if you do that. Okay? Now, here's the irony. You notice how nobody's doing anything about this? Nobody seems to care about this. I'd like to do something right now. As an experiment, I like to say, I want you to know this. What I'm going to do. Laurie Cuck, the enigmatic, says, freaking weather here in Midwest, and I'm a gamer. There you go. I have nothing, by the way, gamers. I'm not one of these people who says, no. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think anything can be problematic. But let me ask you, Laurie, and all my other friends, okay, listen to me carefully. Let's say I have a game that I started called Klansman. Yep. I'm a Klansman from the Jim Crow days. And I'm on my horse with my white hood. And I'm out and I'm targeting either runaway slaves or black people or whatever in my it's a game. I'm just thinking it's just a game. And I'm running them down, and I'm trying to go after these people. I'm trying to run them down, okay? Because after all, it's just a game, right? That's all it is. It's no big deal. How fast do you think they'd shut me down? I would be shut down so fast. You would need Senate hearings. Or what about this? I say, ICE commander. I and a team of my folks, we go from door to door, house to house, looking for illegals. And when we find them, we take them out the hard way, doing you know what. Think that's interesting? I think that's interesting. Think it's interesting? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I think it's damn interesting. Don't you think it's interesting? I think it's very interesting. I think it's really interesting. I think it is monumentally interesting. Pilgrim says, I drove a $300,000 Mercedes on PS4 today. I don't know what that means, but that's PlayStation 4. I did not know that. Thank you. See, I did not know that. Now, if I did that, I would be stopped immediately because they'd say, you can't do that. Excuse me, you don't mind doing this. Well, that's different. Why is that different? Why? Why is a child, or anybody for that matter, involved in this violence, teaching women? Why are the Tates? Tates are going to be brought down. You know that, right? You know that. You know it. It may not be any particular case that you know of. It might not be a Romanian. I don't know the facts of the case. But you know when I know, they're going to be brought down. Laurie Cook says, there's a Klan rally in Red Dead Redemption. Lots of interesting scenarios. So what? It's fun. Red Dead Redemption. I don't know what that is. I guess it's a game. In my mind, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to Carolina. No, in my mind, every single thing should be absolutely, positively be allowed. There's no doubt about that. So I want no legislation that prevents, that shuts down a government involvement shutting down a game. No, I don't care what it is. Dungeons and Dragons, weird role play. I don't know. There was a woman years ago. I'll never forget this. Remember this, honey, years ago. It was in the Upper West Side. She was a dominatrix and she was murdered. And they went into her house, into her apartment, and she had this thing on the wall. It was like a wheel. And you were like, dude. And she would role play and, but it wasn't for sexual matters. It was just, be a dominatrix, spank me, make me write bad checks, treat me like the dirty dog that I am, let me bark, but I'm not, and they called her a prostitute, and we said, no, she's not there is no actual sexual activity there, even though what this was actually, believe it or not, sexually titillating somebody else. There are people, believe it or not, actual escorts. Theoretically, I'm not buying this, but they say that they just meet, they just attend events with men. They say goodnight. That's it. It's not worth the time. Vito says, funny, there is a game now called Schedule 1 that has you start from nothing and build up a drug empire. Kind of fun. Not going to make me break bad. So what if it does? But what I'm saying is there are people out there, believe it or not, and again, I don't know how legitimate this is, women who say, I don't want anything. They're watched. They have like an agency. You go to a date. There was you wouldn't believe the number of people, and I'll tell you I'm not going to mention their names, but in the world of business, show business, who have these women who attend events with them. Oh yeah. Now they're not hookers. I mean, they might be, but they really are. Rent an arm candy or whatever it is. Okay. That's legal. That's consensual. I mean, that's, I don't understand what the big deal with that is. So there's all kinds of variations of this. When I write a play and I want to do a story, like I've always wanted to do a story, I like the idea of serial killers. And the reason why I like a serial killer is not because I like them. I like the aberration. I like the fact that they are so rare. Out of everybody in the prison, none of them are serial killers. None. They just don't do this. There are no people who say, I've got to get out. I've got that itch. What are you talking about? I mean, sometimes there are serial, SAs, offenders, assaulters, but this is a different story. And I've always wanted to do a movie where you got to be careful where you learn through the eyes of the serial killer, but not glorifying it. You don't see him, like, for example, there was a movie one time where you saw a mask and and it was through his eyes. And I thought, this isn't good because it has you identify with the killer. Now, if that's what you wanted to do, you should be able to do that. Did you ever watch Dexter? Why is that okay? Hannibal Lecter. These are movies. This is play acting. You should be able to do whatever you want. So let's just eliminate that. The question is, what do you have, or what do we do regarding children? What do we do with children? This is the most important question in the world. They are so screwed up. And when you take a kid who is in the formative, put it this way, most of us, and I will say this right now, most of us had a very normal, how do I say this? Most of us had a very normal life, okay? And any kind of sexual, introduction, it was through maybe dating, but it was through the usual process. It was sometimes later, it was old-fashioned. We didn't even know anything about what was going on. I mean, maybe we did, but it was still sort of usual. It's kind of like I don't know what the word is. Anyway, make a long story short. Okay. So we have these people, and all of a sudden, we take these kids who have never really been a part of anything, and we're introducing them into this world of weird behavior that they never even thought of. And it's a game, and you're looking at the game as an adult. Oh, I don't mind that. I like to go, and good for you. You should like the game because you're an adult. Good for you. But what about a kid? What about a kid who sees this? What about a kid who sees this for the first time? And you have a game where he is preoccupied in a game called No Mercy. He's a brand new kid. He hasn't even got a girlfriend. He doesn't even understand where this is. He doesn't understand. But he's in a game that tacitly gives the okay to hurting, harming, being extremely bad to people via this. Now, do you think, I'm not saying ban it. I'm not saying that. But do you think this can affect a child? You'd better believe it. Now, other kids can sit there and they're not affected. But when I say affected, does that mean that they go out and they kill people? No. They may not be. But do you think it helps them? Not at all. How much can they withstand before it's like, this is a problem? Do you think later on when you were a kid, later on, do you correct your belief? And you can say, when I was a kid, we had this game called No Mercy. You're not going to believe it. The stuff I would do to my supposed aunt and mother in this, it's crazy. Later on, I realized it was nuts. And do you just put it away? Do you just forget it? We don't know. Sometimes I think to myself that we don't give kids too much credit. And then I think to myself, do you want to take a risk with that? Do you want to play with this? And by the way, you know who's responsible? The parents. Oh, I know. But ultimately, This is a game. This is a machine. You bought them. It's like buying a gun. Everybody's got a gun. You're not going to get a gun. It's a very interesting, and believe me, nobody wants to talk about this. Is there any of you who were screwed up? What screwed you up in your life? What was the event in your life where you thought, you know what, this screwed me up? It wasn't a game. I guarantee you. It was an event that has still haunted you to this day. It might be a divorce, family, kids with divorce. Divorce is one of the worst things because kids feel divorced. They don't understand this. Mommy and daddy, what the hell's going on here? What happened? Where's dad? How did your parents raise you, Lionel? Fine. I don't think anybody, they raised me. We're very good. We were just normal. But thanks for asking. I was a normal kid. Never got into trouble. It was, maybe it was, I didn't know anybody who got into trouble. I didn't know anybody, none of my friends, nobody in school, nobody did drugs, nobody went away to a home or, nothing. It was just kind of the 60s. Lori says, no dad. See? That's the stuff we should be worried about. Games are important. I don't mean to undermine it, but that's what really needs to be important. And you know what? For the rest of your life, for the rest of people's lives, people say things like, never had a dad. I never had somebody. I had the other day, I don't know if I told you about this. I had an Uber driver, guy from the Dominican Republic. I swear to God, I thought to myself, he's just driving and somehow, I don't know. She's seen this. People start talking to me. Either I talk to them, I say hello, but they open up to me. I don't know why. And this guy said to me something to the effect of, he how do I say this? He felt he never had a father. And he always needed a male in his life. Nobody to talk to, nobody to ask him, is this okay? And it was so sad. He was talking about his mother who was very, very strong. And he was very, very, and I felt like saying, I don't want to get involved in somebody's life and then say, goodbye, gotta go, this is my stop. Laurie says, my mom got me one, but it was too late, LOL. There is a very, very, very important thing about what is and isn't. Look, I hate when people act like experts. There's no such thing. All I know is there are people out there who are very, very sad. And there are people I know who've had absolute perfect parents, great homes, great family, education, and there's something wrong with them. There's something not there. I'm fascinated by, how do I say this? I'm fascinated by various forms of pathology. I will watch you like a hawk. And eventually I say, oh, because I see it. And someone said, oh, you're empathic. I said, no, I don't feel it. I understand it. You know what I mean? I know this. There are so many people so many interesting people. And eventually, remember something. Something screws you up. You don't just, unless it's a neurological thing, like schizophrenia, that's neurochemical and that's a different story. But for the most part, something screwed you up. It wasn't you were born that way. Something did. You might have had the propensity for this. I'm afraid I don't want to give you, there's so many people I'd love to tell you, but they might be watching and they'll say, that's me you're talking about. Because I know and I can see it. The greatest compliment anybody can ever give you, or I can ever give you, is I don't see anything. If this is the greatest compliment, let me spend a couple of days with you and I'll say, oh, I see it. You see, one of the things which is interesting, have any of you folks ever found yourself, you're married or you're involved with somebody or you're whatever, and you realize later on, I didn't know. I didn't know. They hid it. It was whatever it was. And not obviously like drinking or violence, but just something that's weird. Everybody's got something. And a lot of it has had to do with something along the way. It was a coping mechanism that went wrong. It was a distillation problem. It was something that, how do I say this? It just went wrong. Something took a wrong turn, or I don't know what the word is, but I've seen this. I got to be very, very careful because I know people are watching this. I'll tell you a couple of them I like. One is, I'll never forget, my father said, was it my father? I think he said, watch how a woman treats her parents. I thought, ooh, that's good. Yeah, watch that. Watch how they treat your parents. Mm-hmm. Watch how people handle stress. Watch how people handle the inability to succeed. Watch, and this is the most important. I wish, see, this is very important. When you're during the initial part of any kind of relationship, you're hiding everything. You're hiding. You're always at your best behavior. You're hiding. You show up ready. I think what people need to do is, and this will never happen, there should be one time when you can say, okay, it seems like we're getting serious. I got to watch you get ready. I don't mean I want to see you dressed, nude, but I want to see if I can handle this. I want to see what's going on here. It's one of the most amazing. Do you know what's happening? Do you know how many young men who have never had sisters before say they have no idea? Do you know what this is like? All of a sudden they say, what's this? What do you mean, what's this? Have you ever had somebody who says, it's like they're an hour late? Why? I don't know what's going on here. What is that about? You don't know this? No. What is that? Some people are people who are never on time. Do you ever have late people? There's something wrong with that. I know you're looking at me like saying, what does this have to do with anything? It's the most important thing in the world. I know people, who come across very, very stuck up, but they're hurt inside. They compensate for their sense of inferiority by being overly, I don't know what the word is, overly, what's the word? Self-referential. Does that make any sense to you? They're always, I'm so great. I'm so glad about that. There's something sad inside. You ever seen this? You ever seen? MP says, my brother's kid spends 100% of his time on games. It's crazy. That's not good. That's not good. Now, let me tell you something. And this is a problem. I don't know what to tell you if somebody's playing all the time. Hurt people. That's right. But also, screwed up people screw up people. Don't forget that one. That's another one, too. That's a big one. If somebody's on games all the time, this is something very wrong. That's all I'm going to say. Do you hear what I'm saying? Okay. So the bottom line is this, my dear friends. There is a big debate, and I'm telling you, we must absolutely, positively, 100%, never, ever, ever ban recreational gaming and the like, because it's a thought, it's expression. However, when it comes time for kids, by the way, to be playing games where you got to show no mercy, and the point of it is to exact violence against women, you got a big problem with it. You got a big, 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 big problem with that. I was so glad we didn't have to talk about tonight, our dear friends, that we didn't talk about tariffs and the like. I want to bring up one thing, remind you of our great sponsor at preparewithlionel.com. You know, you've heard me talk about them. And it's not about having necessarily food, but stuff like ovens, electricity, waterproof matches, 100-hour candles, everything you can imagine that somebody thought this is genius in case power goes out for a long time, weather problems, alien invasion, China attacking, weather balloon, whatever. Preparewithlionel.com is our group, preparewithlionel.com. And as I said before, dear friends, remember this is very important, especially with everything that's going on right now. If you or your family members find yourself in harm's way, if you feel like I do not know what to do, the smartest thing to do is check out our good friends at No Debt with Lionel. Just go and see. Go and see what they can do. That's all. Not a hard sell. These are the best. Putting together a plan that can help you and get your head above water. More people need it than you can imagine. Nothing to be embarrassed about, but get the help you need if you're really underwater, so to speak. No Debt with Lionel. How about that? And it's named after me, which is terrific. So anyway, dear friends, you have a great and glorious night. I had such a delightful time. I love talking about this stuff. I don't know why. Where's Dennis Miller? Miss him. Is he retired? You know what, Johnny Mass? That is a great, great question. I don't know where he is. I don't know where. Some of these people just go. He didn't do a lot for me, but that doesn't mean anything. I was watching old Mort Saul and old Dick Gregory is wonderful. But he was very, very important. And he broke away and did a very, he was very, very good in at least providing what seemed to be at least a kind of a rudimentary, dare I say, a rudimentary form of conservative way of thinking, which is pretty good. Which I kind of like, He kind of tried it on for size. I think it was very, very good. Very, very great. Very terrific. So anyway, dear friends, make sure you follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Make sure you see our piece that we did on No Mercy. This is incredible. This is an incredible story. I love correlation and cause stories. I love them. Also, make sure you go back and listen to my show this morning, our show regarding Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson. This is a tutorial you should see. All right, your friends. Don't forget also Saturday morning, 2 to 6, WABC. I don't think they know yet. I'm kind of holding back. I don't know if I should let them have it. Not this. See what I'm going to do. But that's coming up as well. They seem to like it, so what are you going to do? All right, dear friends. Have a great and a glorious day. We love you. Thank you all. For the super chatters, for the contributors, thank you. You have no idea how gratifying it is for you to say, it's like a little tip jar. Thank you. Until tomorrow, my friends, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Dad.